So today we're going to make a biochar brick, an organic brick, an organic charcoal brick for the purpose of something somewhere in building. We will use this, a very high insulating value product, and so I'm just going to show you how I make the bricks. You have to start with our form. You need to have a form properly made, nice and accurately done. And so I'm just going to finish putting it together here, so you get an idea how I kind of do it. Just screw her all together. The size of this brick is, here in this country, is the sort of the standard measurements, what we would call standard, common run-of-the-mill building brick. They would work for ordinary fireplace, a non-expensive one, on the outside of the building. So these can be painted if you were so inclined. I think they would make a good facade on a building, partly because of the insulating value that they possess. That's a kind of a nice attribute. I'm going to put one more in here. It's starting to get worn out a little bit. There, that looks better. Okay, I think we're ready to go. And before we start going into the mixes and so on, we're going to add in some camelina sativa. It's just a type of oil I happen to have here in the shop. It's false flax, a weed of flax, so it's a white colored flower. And I use it for an oil. And so what I want you to do next is you apply lots of it. Be liberal. Apply lots of it inside of there, so that when we take everything apart, you'll be glad you put this on, because it just comes apart so nicely. And I think I'm going to mention too that these forms, they're just handmade, made out of wood. I just did it with a skill saw, but you have to make them very accurately. And when I was all done, before I put them together, I put a good hard coating on them, on the products. This is where my finger is touching here. That is actually res, fiberglass res. So it makes a real good, durable surface. It needs to be hard so that you can do it again and again and again and again. Lots and lots of pores, so that your forms are always reusable. In the case of pour in place, well, of course, you just take them off once and discard the forms or recycle them or whatever. And you're done. But here you're going to use these time and again. So you want it to be workable. And once again, I can't stress enough the importance of lots of oil inside, or this will have the least amount of negative effect on the Portland product that goes to make it go hard. Okay? Good. Now I want to talk about our mix. It's 3-1-1. So that would be 3 of our 1/8 minus biochar. There's a little bit of fines in there, which is probably not a good thing. On the other hand, it may be. We're not going to talk about that right now. So we do 3 of the raw product, biochar, as it comes from the process after it's been cooked. That's how it comes out. 1 water and 1 normal Portland. This is it here. It's a powder, normal Portland cement. This is how it looks in a bag. You pretty well have to buy it in an 88 pound or 40 kilogram bag. You pretty well have to buy it that way, I think. I can't seem to find it in smaller amounts. And so then when you do that, you have to preserve it. You can't just leave it out in the open, it'll go hard. Okay, so we're going to start the mixing process. And to do this, to fill this, we're going to do a double batch, or like 2 units. So that'll be 2, 2, and 6. So, 1 and 2. And 2. Okay, now I want to point out that in our raw biochar, I put in roughly 4 cups of water per 14 liters. This pail is 14 liters, or 1/2 cubic foot exactly. It's not exactly 14 liters, but it is exactly a 1/2 cubic foot, filled up to just under 1 inch below the top. And so that it's safer to store by having a little bit of mixture. And so I mix it as you see. The Portland and water are mixed together straight away. Mix them well. I use this 1/2 inch drill and this little thing which I fashioned. I just made that, and it works for me. You can see that you could mix this by hand. You don't necessarily need a drill, but well, I have the drill and it's pretty handy. Okay, so in the mixing pail, next we have to go with 6 This will be 3. 4. 5. And finally 6. So that gives us 2 units. 3, 1, 1. Now, mix that up really well. Give it lots of mixing. It has to be very, very well. Now, as a rule, you'll find that it'll be a little dry, probably, on the exact measurements which I've just given you. So it's pretty well usual to add water, because this has turned out a little bit too dry. Now when you add water, do not add too much, or it goes sloppy very quickly. This is a real delicate moment in creating the nice mix that you want. And that, of course, is related to the technical end of what biochar represents. We're not going to talk about that right now. So you add just a bit of water, not very much. Do not add too much. Oh, it's coming along great. I believe I can add another, just a little bit again. It's not very much. Be careful. Again, do not add too much. There. So I'll just show you this in my hand. It's hard to get it to this point, but just be careful. Don't make a mistake. Do not add too much water or it gets too wet and you'll spoil everything. So I think this is a perfect batch right here, right now. I think we're looking good. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. That is looking pretty good. So, yeah, I like that. So we simply get it into the forms. Stack her in there, jam her in a little bit. I think we got the volume about right. What you want when you're figuring out the volumes of your, what you want to fill is, don't be short. If anything, make extra. Sometimes people, they don't want to waste their leftover. Well, it's okay to have a little something beside that you want to do and add in your leftover. You have your leftover. I would like to point out too that the product that I have here in my hand, this is our mix for biochar. I use the same thing when I'm mortaring the bricks together. I use this same product. And you have to be fast. That's another thing I want to point out to you. You do this all very quickly. You just don't get an opportunity to lose time, to waste time. Don't make mistakes. Try and do a good smooth action. It's really easy for things to go wrong. Make sure you're ready so that things don't go wrong. Be well prepared. Okay, so you strike it off. What I do, I like to vibrate it really well into place. It'll give you a very good, much better job. Oh boy, that looks great. Yeah, that's just looking good. You gotta make sure it's in there good. Yeah, that's a perfect mix. We did it good. Strike it off. And you leave it a little bit high, a little bit on the upside, because it does shrink a little bit. And of course this will shrink to a lesser degree because we did not get too much water in. And if you put too much water in, you do a lot of harm. You make a weaker product, you take away the engineering, and you get big shrinkage. You don't want big shrinkage. So think about that as you're doing your work. And so we just strike that off nice. And we're going to come back just a little bit later, probably a couple hours. And we can make a perfect smooth back on them. Make them nice and perfect. We just go like that, like that. And so there you have it. And while I'm at it here, I'm just going to do one quick little demonstration. Just for fun while we're at it, and you can just pick out any place you like. I think that's a kind of a neat attribute. You can screw it and drill it, and Well now, that's a place to hang your hat there. So there you have it. The biochar brick.